That's a beautiful question, Samarth, and thank you very much for sharing this. And Sana, I want you to be thinking about this as well, because I'm going to say a few things, and you certainly made that transition and made it very successfully and very, remarkably well. So I'd like to get your perspective as well after I'm done, talking about, what some of my ideas are. I'll talk to you about two things. Number one, we know that there is a drop-off when students graduate. They see a big price shock, right? Sticker shock in terms of membership. So this year we did an ad hoc with young professionals where it's a graduated membership scale. So the first year you pay 50%, and then the next year you pay 75%, and so on before you eventually pay 100%. Another pilot model that we're looking at is to maybe spread this over 5 years. So you have some sort of a scale over 5 years for young professionals. But both of those are economic in nature, right? So we're taking into account the fact that on a global scale, we have members who span the gamut. The economic conditions are very different, the social conditions are very different, and we need to take that into account, because you could say $10 in the United States, but $10 is a lot of money in some parts of the world based on the local economic conditions. So that is something that we're very sensitive to. Of course, we have the e-memberships in IEEE, and the e-memberships are very much helpful to individuals in those countries. But the larger purpose, right? Let's go back to what we were saying at the beginning about engineering the future. I think young professionals, by the way, Samarth, and I'm sure you know this, there's 100,000 young professionals, right? Fastest growing affinity group within the IEEE. And 400,000 members in the IEEE, give or take, and there's 100,000 of them being young professionals. And these young professionals, I think, are telling us in so many ways. They've talked to us about continuing education. So IEEE has responded with ILN. It's trying to provide resources to them. They've talked about opportunities for micro-volunteering. They've talked about opportunities for career and professional development. I think all of those things are ways in which, I'm talking about services now, the first one was on value. So value and services both have to be amplified, both have to be enhanced to keep young professionals engaged. And the last thing I would tell you, the third point, is that no one comes in with a tag. Young professionals is something that we just started, a decade ago. It used to be graduates of the last decade, and we came up with young professionals and we said 15 years. I like to joke sometimes and say, I'm a senior young professional. And I was actually joking. By the way, I just became a grandfather about a month ago, our first grandson. And so I wrote to the folks in IEEE Educational Activities, and I said, what do you have for VYPs? And somebody wrote to me and said, what do you mean by VYP? I said, a very young professional, less than 1 month old. No, jokes aside, I think it's about meeting the needs of our members, and that's really what we need to do in terms of value. Sana, would you like to add to that? Because I'd love to hear your experience as a student who's made that transition to a young professional.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, congratulations on becoming a grandfather, a young grandfather. Congratulations. Secondly, the transition really was smooth because IEEE has allowed me to understand the benefits that I'm going to get from becoming a young professional. It's completely different from being a student. Yes, the fees are obviously drastically different, but the networking, the connection, the learning, everything is completely different, and it has helped me a lot grow in my professional career. And as long as we can spread the word to the young professionals that that's what we would hope for you to get out of it, out of being involved, which is help you grow professionally and also work on your soft skills as well. There's a lot of courses that IEEE offers. I believe anything in that direction would help us get more young professionals and participate in IEEE and kind of become a member. The transition was made easy because I had mentors in IEEE that have explained the pros and the cons, and I was fairly convinced, and it was a decision that honestly it has changed my life and changed many people's life as well.
So Sana, as you were speaking, something else came to my mind. You forget these things when you get old, and so we have 46 societies and technical councils in the IEEE. 39 of the 46 technical councils and societies have a young professional representative. And this is not just a token representative. These are young professionals who are taking an active part in the governance and the activities of those technical societies. And I want to give a shout out to Flavia, who's the chair for Young Professions Committee today. Remarkable young lady, right? Remarkable young lady. If you haven't met Flavia Dinka, she's doing great things. Take a look at the Young Professions Plan, Samarth, and be a part of it. Put up your hand and say, what can I do to make this community better than it is today to engineer the future?